here, because they're afraid that if they got here, that they'd be responsible for all the debt. But keep in mind, Jesus paid the price of your debt in terms of God and you. How much are you willing to forgive that debt of other people? And there are parables based on that idea too. The one guy that was forgiven a great debt, that didn't turn around to the servant or the person that owed him a lot and gave him a lot of pressure. And then the master who forgave him took him and put him in jail and it said, how long is he going to stay there? Until he paid every last dime. So, oh man. Okay, what am I buying? I'm buying was it A1566 iPad case. That made it easier there. Exactly on the dot. Reuben case compatible. What I want is a iPad case, and I want a kangaroo. A Roo. They're called Roos. I'll just say Roos. What is this case called? I know it's a Roo, but okay. Targus. I'm gonna get a Targus. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll put iPad case, Target, or how about Roo? It said Root. Targus. Targus. Yeah, those are pretty good. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's the one I got. Yeah. Which color? Well, I got the red, so I might as well get the, what is that? Brown. Maybe the brown. Then I got the, what is that? This one. That one. No, I'm going to get the brown. That's the classier looking one. So, it's not for sale, I guess. I'm going to have to go on and try something different here. Well, this is the one I guess everybody likes. No, I don't like it. Oh, Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Yawn. Got iPads with keywords. I might need to do that. See that? There you go. Oh, man. Alright, what am I going to play? Okay. Alright. Get my shells. I just bought my... Oh, look, I'm spilling pretzels all over the floor. Okay. I was like, can't share with the entire world that you're fapping. Yes, I can. Okay. Yeah, I was going to take Geo. It's still sitting there waiting for me to take it. It's like, come on, come down here. You want some, you know it. So it's seducing me. Okay. We'll go down there and take it. I haven't started any music, probably won't for a while. Probably. I'll probably do it once I get the realization that knowing enemy are nearby isn't really going to affect me that much. One day I was listening to this band called Ninja Sex Party. I love it when bands come up with names like that, because they're really just trying to get people kind of disgusted or something. The whole idea is it's a weeding mechanism. It gets rid of all the people that would not be open to whatever it is that their band is about. So it's essentially funkadelic is what they are. They're kind of like funkadelic. They're trying to be inclusive, but not inclusive of certain people that would not be inclusive. But anyway, because they're trying to limit their social circles to people that they can live with. You know, if you're more accepting of people, then you want to have a name like like Ninja Sex Party. It's just like the Sex Pistols. You know. Why was their name the Sex Pistols? Because they're going to talk about subjects that people were not interested in, such for people that are punkers, you know, people that deal with law enforcement and all sorts of stuff that gets in their way of their everyday lives for no reason at all, but just because they look different, you know. And who saw more eye to eye than anyone but the punk rockers, such as the Sex Pistols, with reggae artists and stuff. Actually, it wasn't Sex Pistols. It was the ones who did it was the Clash and reggae artists. Some reggae artists I've mixed with, and in doing so, they became quite the same people, you know. And there's a reason why punk took a reggae turn. Was that reggae took a punk turn? They saw a bit of each other in a bit of themselves in each other, and that brought about a change in the way the music was going to be presented. That was the reason why Blondie wanted to release Heart of Glass as a reggae tune, because reggae was in, punk was out, kind of, and they wanted to be about what it was kind of in at the time. And so they were going to do Heart of Glass as a reggae song, but the record company didn't want another reggae song because they knew that it was not selling well. And so they said, "Can you make this a disco tune?" Which is almost the same sort of thing. Thing is, disco became acceptable, and even though disco is kind of packaged, it wasn't acceptable by everyone. And I think once the rockers realized that even it was shunned a bit, because, you know, he had all these gay people dancing in clubs, and there were a lot of people that didn't want to be around gay people, it gave it a rebellious aspect. And then all of them said, well, yeah, I guess disco would be kind of cool, you know, take on disco, because then it would give us a segment of the population that we desire to buy our records, and that's the gay population. I'm sure that's probably how that turned out. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to aerate my arms because they're all sweating and stuff. They're smelly. Ooh, yucky, yucky, yucky. Ooh. So it's probably gonna be disco today. I really like Chic. No, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna. It's by far is going to be some Roxy music. I gotta have some Roxy music. They started the glam rock, and the idea was the lead singer and the people that he was involved with wanted to bring to rock a sense of fashion. They wanted to bring they wanted to take the British, who were kind of seen as low to middle class people, out of the slums and the sameness of everything in their world into a sense of glamour and of worth, of having a status. And that was what started glam rock. Now, it did bring in one guy who I would point out that people are going to be solely disgusted by, for good reason, is a guy by the name of Gary Glitter. And Gary Glitter is also kind of be considered the father of glam rock. He's a known child molester. He's been put in jail for many counts of child molestation. So he's got a song that's really popular, and it's sung in every football arena in the world where there's still people at football, and they do that. Hey! And that's Rock and Roll Part 2. Rock and Roll 1 has lyrics to it, but that's Gary Glitter. And so you're actually singing a football song that's getting everybody high and elated, and the guy who made the song is a known child molester. If you've ever heard of Phil Spector's Wall of Sound, you lost that love and feeling, oh, that love and feeling. You lost that love and feeling, now it's gone, 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 whoa. That's the Righteous Brothers. But the wall of sound was the reverberated effect that was produced in the background. That was a creation of a producer called Phil Spector. Phil Spector married Ronnie Spector, who made the song Be My Little Baby, baby, my darling. Oh, 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 oh. He abused her. She got away from him. He's a psychopath. Phil Spector is a psychopath. There are people who are amazed that there was a time when John Lennon was making an album with Phil Spector, and Phil Spector said, we're at gunpoint. He pulled out his gun, put it in John's face, and said, we're going to do it my way. So there are crazies in the world that people know about. Famous child molesters and famous psychopaths. They do exist. So, I'm not excusing them. I'm saying to you that you may not know that in your culture that these people are having influence and you're not aware of it. And that you're not aware of it, and then you're turning around and vilifying somebody else, says that you're just as stupid as they are. You're a dumbass, is what you are. And I'm going to point it out right forth in front of your face, even if you knew that Gary Glitter was a child molester and didn't sing those songs. There are a bunch of people in our culture still singing that song. And if they're vilifying him, but they're willing to accept his music, there's something wrong, there. But the thing is that what's really wrong there is that it's my belief that what creates child molesters are neglectful parents or people that are abusive. And they are not able to form a complete idea of what love is, and they equate it to sex. And if you could imagine somebody like that trying to love a child, that's probably the reason why they end up like that. So that's the reason why that's the reason why you can't understand it, and the reason why they can't understand it, and the reason why they have to be separated from children. But they get a special treatment in neighborhoods. They don't want to be in contact with children, but it's terrible for them, just as it is for somebody who's got HIV. If people knew you had HIV, would they want to be around you? What would HIV do to somebody that got a sexual transmitted disease, HIV? What would that do with respect to you and the rest of your family? It would excommunicate you. It would become just like the what was it, the people that had leprosy during Jesus' day had to wear sackcloth, and when they went through crowds, they had to say, unclean, unclean. Let everybody know they had leprosy, because if anybody touched them, they would get the disease too. And what did Jesus do? He approached the leper, and he healed the leper. Now, can you imagine any one of us being able to do something like that? And that's the challenge. That's the challenge, is being able to reciprocate people who nobody else in our culture would. To come before them and bring to them the word, and to permit them to change. Permit them to go beyond what our culture would vilify them and demonify them for. To permit them to go beyond being killers, being child molesters, being, whatever we think is the worst thing you could possibly be. The reality is that we are the worst thing we could possibly be. We just don't know it, So, let me go into my music program here. The other thing is people don't know, they don't know the age at which people, now you're not permitted to marry until you're like 18. That hasn't always been the case. And the reason why is because people didn't ever live to be 30. So there were times in the past where people would never live to be beyond 30. They would die early, and it was because of disease. So you think they're going to wait until 18 and then have maybe 12 years to live before they die? No, they're going to marry earlier. They're going to probably have probably the minute puberty hits. And are you going to say that it's only going to happen between people that are of the same age? It probably won't happen. If one of those is a savant and the other one, if one's a savant, got their PhD and wanted to marry somebody that had the same intellect as they do, who are they going to marry? Somebody who's probably older. And what is our society our culture going to say about that? They're going to they're going to roll their eyes and going to say you can't possibly allow this to happen. And I say it's up to them. It's pure consent, and you have to. If that savant is smarter than you are, you don't have the capacity to judge how they decide to live their life. It's up to them. It's not up to you. It's not up to the culture. They may have to go to another country in order to get what they want. But in this country, we constrain everybody to law, and people can't live by laws like it, because it wouldn't even work in the Bible times. It wouldn't even work in Bible times. Nobody can live by law. It's completely impossible. That's the reason why the Ten Commandments are the Ten Commandments, is to prove that nobody's perfect. It's also to prove that you can't live by law. You can't get the civil society, the perfection that you expect the utopian society in this world, even with law. It won't work. There will always be somebody who's going to work their way around that law and get in contact with the people that they shouldn't have, like these priests that are abusing children. You put your trust into somebody that you don't understand. You're not looking at their fruits. You're not looking at their past, and you're giving them access to your children. That's your problem. That's not their problem. That's your problem. You need to be determining where these people are from and what they've done in the past, or you have to give them the capacity to do what they're going to do. And if they end up doing wrong, then if you're always in preventative mode of everybody that's around you, you're just going to be a stressful, nervous frazzle. The best thing to do is to pray to God that nothing bad ever happens and that it will get fixed. And if something bad does happen, that people can survive it, that we can all survive it, and that can learn from it and know what went wrong. Okay? Because this is all a learning experience. And I think what is really bad right now is that people going out and vilifying people before they've ever done anything bad. Just outright vilifying, just like Donald Trump saying Mexico's bringing over rapists and all this stuff. Outright vilifying people from Mexico whenever they've proven that the amount of actual crime that people from Mexico bring to this country that doesn't already exist here, and it isn't even to race, is so negligible that it's not even worth mentioning. He did it because he knew people here feared it. That he knew it was a great way of leveraging his administration into the hearts of stupid people. And that's what is going on, is stupid people are accepting, evil people into positions and allowing them to do evil, and they're not being aware that, you have to look at the fruits to determine what you're getting, okay? You have to judge in that respect, but the judgment that's bad is whenever you say someone's going to hell. If I was to say to Donald Trump that there's no possible way you could fix all the hell that you've caused in the last 4 years, that you're going to hell, that would be bad for me. What would be better for me to say to Donald Trump, even though I probably said such things, but the best thing, and I've pointed this out to Donald Trump, I've sent it to him in his Twitter feed, I say low-income housing. If you could make a lot of money and put it into low-income housing, I'm sure everybody there would be a portion of the population, not everybody, but a portion of the population that would be okay with you. But you would have to do that. And you would have to pursue it till death. He probably isn't going to be that way. And if he exhibits the same sort of behavior he's exhibited, I would say he's a psychopath, because that's what psychopaths do. They go for the easy outs. And they will never self-deprecate. So anyhow, I'm going to look at some music. Now, you might find some psychopaths that would probably self-deprecate, but only because maybe they could convince you to believe them that they weren't psychopaths. But there's ways of finding them out. There's tests they can do to find these guys out. So, okay, let me see. Search engine for some Roxy Music. There's nothing. And people will look at the lead singer of Roxy Music. I thought this for a long time, that he was gay. He's got 4 sons. The guy's got 4 sons, and he's not gay. He just, people think he's gay, you know. Brian Ferry. Even his name sounds like he's gay, you know, Ferry. So, let's see. You hear the song? They'll cut it out. YouTube will cut it out, but maybe it'll stay for a while. This is Roxy Music. I'll put it back away. You can just hear it barely. Dun 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 dun. The only reason why I know about this is that I had a record club, and I decided to get Roxy's Greatest Hits, and I didn't really know who this band was. I just saw their cover in one of my favorite cover artist books that somebody gave me. Roger Dean, and he had a cover art of Roxy Music, and I was like, I wonder what these guys are about, you know. And so I bought their Greatest Hits album. No big thing, you wait for the bell to ring. Say no big deal, the toll of the bell. I'm done with no lyrics. Stand for days, so lie down. The red light plays. Still pop, over for something star. Love is a knife, and I need to score. Then jump and run. It goes on. The girls don't be on. Set tight, touchy free. These that are hooking me. Oh, catch that bus. Love is the drug I'm thinking of. Oh, can't you see? Love is the drug for me. Oh, don't do that. Okay, my favorite one is Stick Together, I think is the one thing that's called it. Let's make it. See, dance way more than this. Don't stop the dance. It's got to be in here. I'm trying to remember what it's called. You know the marriage vow is very sacred. It said the man has put us together. You know we got to stick together. Tomorrow come and stick together. You know we made a vow from here and until forever. You know it's some of us be something sometimes to love is try. I said, but that's all I was trying. Come on and stick together. Yeah. You know we made a vow. To know forever. See if I can. I can't believe it's not in here. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna do a search because I know. I'll say stick together. Let's stick together. It's not the most popular one, but it's in there. Okay. It's actually, I think it's a George Harrison song or something. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you know, it's a Bob Dylan song, I think. This very sacred the manners put us together. That's try to make it stick together. Come on, and stick together. Yeah. You know we made a vow from here and down, forever. I've been shining down. Come on, that baby, love a try and stick together. Come on, and stick together. Yeah. You know I made a vow from here to town forever. Listen to my child. Can it be become me when it's not find until never? Come on, and stick together. Yeah. You know we made a vow to stay from time forever. Dun, 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 dun. In the music video, it has him, and who's dancing around him, who's doing that sound, is Mick Jagger's old wife, Jerry Hall. If you ever saw the movie Batman with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, the girl who is the Joker's girlfriend is Jerry Hall. Very, very attractive model, and became Mick Jagger's wife, and showed up in Roxy music videos and stuff like that. Don't even let me go there. She's so attractive. Okay, but I'm gonna turn this. I'm gonna put this on my thing so I can actually go out and be useful in this game. So. But I think people would be able to identify with me more than somebody who's out there vilifying people who like fap to porn. I saw something called pornocracy, and in the movie it was a documentary, and they were talking about what's happened to the porn industry, and it's important because it's part of our where money is going and coming from in our government. I mean, it's going to have an effect on the country, whether you like it or not. The tubes, like you probably heard of Pornhub and Next Hamster and all these guys. The videos that go up are copyrighted, but they go up and there's nobody to take them down, and as a result, it's pretty much destroyed the entire porn industry. There are a lot of Christians that say fair riddance, we don't need them. But the thing to keep in mind is that even during Jesus' time, there were prostitutes, and these were women who were not able to make money for themselves. They couldn't get married, and they couldn't pay a dowry. Maybe they could pay a dowry, but then they become they'd have ill reputation. Nobody's going to want to marry somebody who's had sex with multiple people, and so that their life. Their life is a disease as a result of the kind of situations that they're in. They're just trying to get themselves out of a bad situation, and that is to get from being abused, say in a bad relationship, and they're just reasoning in their head and says, which would I rather be, abused in a bad relationship where the man is in control, or I'm in control and I'm just selling my body in a picture or in a video format, and then I make some money off of it, goes into investments, I can start a family, I can disappear, and I'm no longer being abused by men. And that's the reasoning that goes through their head by getting into porn. And I have to be there to say to those guys that if it weren't for you guys, I would probably be chasing after women. If you weren't there to do that, so there is a very good reason for you to be there, but I don't want you to be in this industry either, you know. But what's happened as a result of the porn industry, what's happened is now the tubes are basically, they basically become kind of a mafia. All the porn tubes have become a mafia, and they're doing Ponzi schemes, and they're doing all these, according to Pornocracy, they're doing like all sorts of shell games and stuff, and they don't know who actually owns this industry anymore. And the original porn companies have lost all their money, and they're like, you know, in fear of their lives. Some of the guys that used to make porn movies, you know, wear guns on, you know, around, because they're afraid that somebody's going to come out to get them or something if they say anything wrong. So they're not about to badmouth anybody, because they're afraid that somebody's going to come out of the woodwork and get them. And so you have to kind of be protective of these women that are out there and put them in a position that if they're going to do it, they're going to do it in safety. They're going to do it without disease, without STDs. You may not agree with it, but if you're watching it, it's more a problem with you than it is with them. See, if you're I wouldn't do it if I was in a relationship. I would not look at porn, because I'm already making the decision that this woman is the one I want to spend my life with. She's the only one that matters, and it's up to her to decide if I'm going to look at it. But that's between us, and that's not for anybody else to decide. It's between us and God. And for somebody to say you're going to go to hell for that, or you're an evil person because of that, that is the worst thing you can ever say. Because Jesus, what did he say to the Pharisees? He said, it will be better on the day of judgment for the Sodomites than it will be for you Pharisees. Can you imagine them saying, instead of Pharisees, all you self-righteous people that say you're going to hell? Anybody that would have any reason to vilify a prostitute, or, you know, or a sodomite, or somebody that's having anal sex, a gay person, and he was pointing at you and he's saying, you said they're going to hell, you're in more trouble than they are. That's what Jesus was saying to them. And he was really setting the tone for people to understand that just because a church is a place where people go to get inspired and to feel good and things like that, it doesn't say that a church couldn't possibly ruin people. And it can. And it's up to the members of that church to determine what is right and what is wrong. And if that church is bad, to leave it. You know? Leave that church. If it's bad, leave the church. Tell the other people at that church, I'm not going to their service because this happened. And say why. It's not vilification. It's kind of like a corporation. You don't want to go back to that church, you know. It's an entity. It's in a form and a configuration that is not beneficial to people, and you don't want to be there. That's perfectly fine. There may still be people there, but you don't vilify them either. You let them be where they are. They will determine when they need to go, if they need to go. They'll determine what it is that they're willing to work with, where they're going to work with. Jesus brought the apostles to places in the world to help them confront, to not so much confront, but in order to realize that there was no way that they could enter hell by going to certain places in the world and confronting, you know, wherever they saw darkness. Now, looking at somebody and saying you got dark in you is really kind of bad. That's the same as saying you're damned to hell, you know. You don't want to say that. What you want to do is you want to understand them. You want to see where they're coming from. You want to see what you see in yourself and them, and then try to identify with it. Because if you can't, if you're willing to vilify them before you know about them, what do we call that? We call it hypocrisy. Hey, how's it going? And he was waiting for the chance for it. I know about that. Yeah, he's like, And he's thinking, hey, I got that guy that always does that to me, and I'll just let him do it again. And he'll be like, why are you coming out here to let me do this again? Maybe I want you to have the benefit of the XP. So hey, come on, hey, do it again. I'm all for it. I'm bending over. You can give me that. Do it. You know. I think he ran away. I don't know what. Did you run away? Yeah. I'm just doing it. You know. He'll probably do it again. He'll probably say, oh, I'll just let him go by. And I'm just kind of like, big deal. Maybe he was just doing it to see if somebody would let him do it, you know. There are some people in the world that people, you know, they say never lie and all that stuff. There are some people who will lie to see if you will believe them. And they may come around and say, you know, I lied. And then you say, I know you did. I don't have any problem with that. All they're looking for is for somebody to see if they would believe them. Because there's a chance that you could come in contact with somebody. And, yeah, he's taking that up there. You come in contact with somebody, and I mean, there would be people that no one will believe them, no matter what they say, will not believe them, and all they need is somebody who will believe them. And whenever somebody does believe them, then maybe they will be more receptive to believe whatever you have to say. See? So you don't want to vilify people outright, and it's going to be a good reason for them not to have anything to do with you. So, come, because it usually comes on a Sunday, but I guess today it came on a Monday. It's when I get preachy. I get preachy on certain days. Usually after I fat. And people will say, why is that? It says, you know, politicians take cocaine. You know why they take cocaine? And so their brain gets, this is my theory, it gets filled with dopamine. And then no matter what you say, good or bad, you won't feel bad. You'll feel good no matter what you're saying. You'll still talk. If you say bad things, if somebody poo-poos you, you'll brush it off. You'll continue to say what you're going to say. Because part of the anxiety of talking is the fear of saying something bad. The fear that you're going to rub somebody the wrong way. You got to come out with it and say whatever it is you're going to say. And you're going to need some dopamine to do that. And if you're a preacher and you got to come out and say some stuff and you're afraid of it, why not just take your wife aside and say, I need to do this. I need to get the dopamine so I could get through this talk tomorrow. And you just do it, you know? You do it, do the dirty or whatever it is. And then you get it on. You're both satisfied. You're happy. You've had your bit of lovemaking. You get the dopamine. The next day you're able to preach that sermon that's just very difficult to deal with. Because that's what that dopamine's there for. It's to make you feel good. The thing is that with porn is that you can, if you keep rewarding yourself for everything, I mean for nothing. If you keep taking a drug because it makes you feel good, after a while you won't be able to do anything. You will not. I mean, you won't be able to play video games. You just be sitting around all day like the opium addicts in the 19th century, just sitting around in opium dens, parlors, like dying practically, turning thin. Because you don't eat food, you just take an opium all the time. You know, that's the way you deal with the world. It's just by food doesn't really matter. All the money's going to go to opium until I just become nothing. And God doesn't want that. God doesn't want to see you doing that. God doesn't want to have that experience to see somebody God loves going through just this deep depression that's going to result from dopamine ultimate end of a drug addiction. Now, that can't possibly happen to what's going on with me. Because, for one thing, I've got way too much ideas. I'm inspired. And that inspiration, the dopamine, is not really going to be able to, the dopamine I get from fapping is not going to be able to compete with the dopamine that I get from ideas and from being inspired and from realizing things and getting epiphanies and all this stuff. People say, why don't you put it in the books? Is because I don't know if I could sell it, and I don't know if I'd want to sell it, because if I sold it, then I'd have ego and stress, and I'd be concerned with what it was I was having to say. I leave that up to the audience. They can determine if it's true or not. It's not really important to me to determine if it's true or not. They're all ideas. I haven't been able to prove them one way or another. They can take it or leave it, you see. And the feeling I get is that anything I said about the Bible that I didn't say correctly, but I've been in sermons, or I've been in situations. I went to a virtual church session, and I guess it was just the Holy Spirit saying, you need to hear some of this stuff. We don't really need you knowing everything in the Bible, because we know how you get depressed when you take stuff too seriously. But we need you to come in and listen in on this session. And so what it was about saying stuff from the Bible. And basically what they said is, you're not going to get damned to hell for saying the wrong things because you didn't really transliterate from the Bible correctly. If you had an intent to do right, at worst, all you're going to get is cursed. And so be cursed you. But that doesn't mean you're going to be damned. It just means that something bad might happen to you, and it might teach you something, and then you learn from it. As long as you're learning from it, as long as you have the intent to do good, there can't be anything really wrong about that. See, you're trying to do the best that you can. But I can't read the Bible directly, because when I do, I take it seriously. And the Bible, for me, whenever I read the Bible, I see so much stuff, so much more than the regular person sees. And because of that, it makes it very to read even maybe more than maybe a passage or so. I can get so much out of just a little bit. And so what ends up happening is I kind of let it slowly. I let it simmer on a slow release, type thing. And eventually I realize certain things about it. I don't reference it directly. I'll say somewhere in there it says that. That's easier. That's probably better to say that, because then if I gave somebody a verse, they might take it out of context. They might take it just for the verse it is and then not read the rest of the context. So it'd be better for me to say, somewhere in the Bible it says this. And then they'll say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in there it says that. And then they can look it up, and they can either rebuke me and say, well, it didn't really say that. It said this. And I go, oh, wow, thank you for sharing me the productive rebuke. But if they turn around and they said, well, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm not going to let you know where it is in the Bible. Well, that's a person that has no intent of sharing truth. And so that's somebody not to be around, because they're really there for ego. They're not there for truth. And so what I'm doing is I'm just presenting ideas. And if you know there's something wrong, point it out. And then my story's going to change, because I'm going to be doing it in reference to what I heard from you. And if somebody else said that was wrong, then I'm going to go, okay, wait, maybe I should go and check the text and see if this is correct. And that's kind of my approach. And so now that you know how I work, then you know you can't take me that seriously. This is how I work. And the reason why, part of it is that books put me to sleep. It's really funny. I don't sleep well. It's not that I don't sleep, it's that I don't sleep long. And the really sad thing is what would be sad to my mother, it's not sad to me, is that The only way I'm able to retain and get to sleep and have long-lasting sleep is to fat before. And I'll actually just be sitting there. I'll fat myself to sleep. How many people who do not have sex, and how many people who have sex fall asleep directly after? How many people have sex and do not fall asleep? I think there would be more of the error on the other side, that the minute they got their release, they got all satisfied, they fall asleep. That's exactly what's going on with me. But I can't have the relationship. I can't have the relationship. And so for me, the porn is the relationship. It's the only relationship I can have in the situation that I'm in. It's a naughty word, and it's up to me. It's up to me, God, to discern if this is right for me. But for you to tell me where I'm going to, you're one and one on the same level as the Pharisees. You're risking something bad by telling me I'm going to hell. I know what it says in the Bible. I'm not discounting what it says in the Bible. At least I'm not lying to you and doing what James Baker and all those other evangelists did. I'm not an evangelist. I'm not demanding money. I'm not telling you to send your money in to have it given to my organization. And I don't have any representative organization with a logo, and I don't have membership. I don't care about membership or viewership or any of that stuff. If you're listening to this, you're listening to it for what I have to say. And that's enough for me. I don't really care any other way. I mean, I'm not leading children away. I'm not forcing this down people's throats. I'm not abusing people. Well, in this game I am, but this is game, you know. Whenever I'm talking to people in this game, I'm trying to present to them an idea that it may be the case that the people in the world that claim to be Christian are not doing it right. And that they need to be more receptive to people. They need to be more respectful of people in a way. And they need to say, well, God gives you the free will to go out and do whatever you want. To be like the son that goes out to sow his oats, does his thing, then realizes that he's in the manure with the pigs and they're eating better than he is, and he decides to return to his father. That's essentially why God lets people have free will, is to let them go out and determine for themselves what makes them happy. If they end up being out there, you can't fault them for that, you know. That's where they end up, but you will not have the capacity to have control over their lives. To have control over their lives is the same as having control over the world. All you can do is present to them the word and hope that they make the right decision in the end. That's all you can do. And the thing you need to take to heart is that you don't know how many people you saved. And you shouldn't ever think that the people that you thought were saved were saved. You just say, you know, let be what be, and if it's this one or another, if they're still in it and they're not considered my friend, I might suggest to them, if they blow me off, I'll let them be the way they be. You know, just don't take it to heart and don't take it to the grave, and just, you know, shrug it off, say, Lord, help them, and leave it. Because the regret and all the stress that goes with it, that'll kill you before you are even able to do any of the other missions you're able to do. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not worth it. And this is why I do. I'm going to do this in YouTube, but I'm not going to care about, you know, I'm not going to have a relationship with the people who are in here. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to have it. I'm going to get it on my chest, and it's out. If it ends up in the popular media, I'll just say this is all a test to begin with. I don't believe any of this exists. That's how I get myself out of it. And they say, well, it's caused a lot of trouble. I said, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You were the guys that took it in and made it into something that it was more than what I wanted it to be. What I was presenting were ideas. I was presenting the conundrum, the mystery. You're the ones that are supposed to figure it out. Okay? I'm not going to present you all the answers. You're the ones that are going to determine if it's correct. You're going to have to go out and look for yourselves, figure it out. Because if you don't, then you're not responsible. You're irresponsible. That's the definition of irresponsible. The inability to take responsibility. Hey, how's it going? I don't know why this guy's going after me. He's like, hey, can you get through my, yeah, I can do that. You want to do this? We can have some fun this way. Watch this. He's like, there we go. Wasn't that fun? Hey, do you like that? You want to do that again? I'll do it again. You want to play bumper cars? That's right, bumper cars. Said, okay, I can be a jump. You know, hey, stand still, stand still. Okay, watch this. Wow. No, it didn't work quite, did it? I think he's just trying to figure out how to. Whoa. You want me to sit still? You want to raise me? You think you can raise me? Okay, I'll try to raise. Okay. Can you raise me? Oh, wow! Ah! That's funny. That's funny. That's what he really wanted to do. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool, wasn't it? That was cool, wasn't it? Some people just hang out in the Wargate and stuff like that because it's fun. The Wargate, you can't hurt anybody in here. Yes. You can blow up their car. Yeah, you can hurt people. That's kind of hard. It's difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and save this one out.